Come on. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Women in AI at Code with Eve. This series is all about uncovering the real stories behind women in tech, the twists, the leaps of faith, the challenges we don't always talk about, and the moments that shape who we become. And whether you are already building with AI, just starting to explore, or simply curious about the human side of technology, I hope today's conversation gives you inspiration, confidence, and maybe even a new perspective on your own journey. It's such a joy to be back with you. I am Eve, a Microsoft AI MVP, and I invited a brilliant guest whose path spans data science, creativity, global moves, and a career shaped by both courage and curiosity. We will explore the moments that defined her, the unexpected turns that led her into AI, and the lessons she's learned while growing into a community leader and MVP, and a lot more. I invite you to join me in welcoming Priyanka.
Hey guys,
Hi.
hello.
Hi, how are you doing, Priyanka?
I am doing so good and I'm so excited to be here. And first of all, Eve, kudos to you. It's a great initiative,
Thank
sharing
you.
stories and celebrating each other. So, first of all, a good round of applause for you.
Thank you so much. And to you too, because it is quite late for you in the evening, right?
Yeah, I just finished one of my calls with my Europe team, so I think all good. I'm pumped up.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. And I'm so happy that you could make it anyway, even if it is so late. And I'd like to start by talking a little bit about your background in mathematics and statistics, because that sounds so cool. And let's discuss what drew you toward data science.
Oh wow, that's good question, and it's a very interesting story which I usually like to tell about my journey into data science. So I graduated in 2012, where data science was a fairly new stream of learning. We were more used to computer science, masters of computer applications. That was fairly the norm, and data science was this upcoming new kid on the block. And when I was deciding what should I do, and maths and stats was always my forte, right? So I was deciding what to do, because when it came to data science and I had a look at the syllabus, and it had all the mathematics subjects like vector algebra, matrix multiplication, and in statistics you had variance and coefficient of determination, those kind of things. And I didn't understand, that how it is going to be any different than what I was already studying as a part of my curriculum. And I was getting extremely confused about my stream of study. And then a moment of serendipity, I just followed the most good looking professor into a room, and that turned out to be data science. And that's how I came into data science. I always say that I followed the most good looking person, but then I fell in love with the subject, and then the rest is as you know it
Yeah.
shaped my entire journey. But yeah, it's an interesting tidbit, right? Like, people say that because I work a lot with numbers, that was like the most probabilistic thing to happen to me, but
Yeah.
I'm glad it did.
Yeah, and I like your story so much, and it resonates with mine. I also started with programming like that, that I kind of went wherever that guy went. Yeah. And yes, and as you said, with mathematics and statistics, you learned a lot to to bring the fundamentals of AI into your knowledge as well, because that's how the traditional machine learning models, for example, have been working by based on
Correct.
most of them at least. And also before Gen AI, before that became the center of everything, there has been already so many forms for classical machine learning or to early
Absolutely.
NLP models like BERT. So what did AI work look like for you in those days? Did you work with AI at that time?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like when I started my career, like professional career post my masters, that was with big data analytics. So we had, Hadoop and Spark, parallel programming, those kind of things. But eventually, I was working as head of data science for some of asset management companies, banking sector, where we used to work with risk ratios, emerging market equities, portfolio management. And that was no simple task. Like you really had to churn numbers. You had to use all of your classic machine learning, deep learning, I'll say, models for natural language processing, linguistics, segmentation. And then, it was quite onerous. For example, when you sat with the data set for training your models, those data set epochs, what we call it as learning training epochs, right? Those epochs could go on for like hours together, 17 hours, 20 hours. Like the algorithm is running, it is churning numbers, and then after the results came out, you had to fine tune the parameters. So you had to do hyper parameter training, optimization, adjust your weights and biases, and do all sorts of things which I don't think people working with Gen AI would even understand, that we had to adjust the learning rate, something which we call it as a unit of optimization, ReLU, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
used to factor
Yeah.
softmax optimization. So I could go on with the jargons, and yeah, but it gave you that feeling of being a real cool kid working with fancy
Oh, yes.
numbers and fancy
Yeah.
algorithms. It was difficult, right? And data scientists and machine learning engineers were these niche clique of people who were looked upon with immense, tremendous respect, because they knew their maths basics, they knew their numbers, they knew their algorithms. They could work magic on complex data sets. We could do pattern exploration and whatnot. So I worked with complex image models, I worked with complex
Wow.
risk ratio modeling. And I'll give you one tidbit, right? I used to work with glove models, glove embeddings.
Mm-hmm.
And that time, even if you were able to achieve this kind of a result, where we used to give similarity searches to the language model, right? So let's say if man is to king, then woman is to, and if the model came out with the answer queen or something, like you're giving some sort of an association, and ask it a question, and it would come out with the correct association and inference. It was a moment of joy for us, like, oh my god. And come to think of it, where we are now with your transformer models, and your large language models, small language models, and embeddings, and vector algebra and other things. But mm, it's democratized, it's made so easy. Like when you're creating embeddings, you don't even know that you're actually working with vector algebra. When you are using your LLMs or chat completion models, you don't even know that you are using cosine similarity and such other mathematical metrics. So that's the beauty of it. And I've seen that evolve from glove and BERT models, right down to the power of your GPTs and your modern day Claude Anthropic models. So I am kind of privy to that transformation, and this eureka moment of AI. So yeah.
Mm. I am wondering, what do you think whether traditional machine learning is still a thing today in organizations? Do you see it is coming back, or it was still there throughout the time, or is it kind of going away a little?
Look, not really, right? Because your Gen AI models are all probabilistic models, and there are certain tasks which you still have to use classic ML models for. Your Gen AI can do only so much, your LLMs can do only so much, and they are better suited for your linguistic tasks and code generation tasks, and they are absolutely awesome at those tasks. But come to think of certain things where I have to, for example, I'll give you a practical use case which required us to actually use classic machine learning models. So we were working with a healthcare client, and they wanted to have molecule optimization for their drug. Now, this kind of data set on which you are going to actually take the molecule data, and then you're going to take the current data sets and train and fine tune them, and then train them to learn about the medical vocabulary about those molecule codes and disease codes, and all the medical terminology. That's not going to be achieved just by Gen AI or just by fine tuning, right? You
Yes.
will still need an aspect of classic ML. And yes, you can definitely refine that classic ML using again versions and batches of Gen AI, definitely. But classic ML is still there, and it's not going away. Even for your own language models themselves, the basis is some sort of classic ML, machine learning, deep learning, which then gives rise to something like a API on top, which you're consuming as a large language model. So that's not going away anywhere. And there are still, use cases where pretty much only classic AI/ML is the answer, and then further refinement or further fineys could be added by the help of your LLMs or your agentic frameworks or models. So yeah,
Yeah.
the only part I'll say is the use cases for which classic ML models had to be used. For example, named entity recognition, your PII, PCI entities recognition, some of the language modeling tasks. Those, yes, we don't have to, go down the way of your ML models any longer. Your Gen AI models are way too powerful for those tasks, correct? But
Mm.
yeah, there are still those, as I said, areas, and I'll not even say niche areas. There are still some use cases where it will mandate the use of AI/ML models.
Yeah, right. I also wanted to ask, because your background is in mathematics and statistics, and do you still remember everything from your studies, or do you kind of practice sometimes?
Good question. Good question. Look, definitely, I can relate to the concepts. And so, for example, when we are doing embeddings calculation, I know that it is vector mathematics, vector
Mm-hmm.
algebra. And I know that when you're calculating similarity or distances between similar words, that is your Euclidean distance, or you are using some form of cosine similarity. Then
Uh-huh.
I also know that when you're using your hyperparameter top p tokens, then you're using a lot of your probabilistic Bayesian filters and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I do remember the basics, but then there was a time where we had to solve absolutely some sort of problems using calculus or or
Oh, yeah.
integration and all of those. Maybe if you ask me to solve that now on a pen and paper, I might not be able to, but it's good that I know the concept. So if I were to just brush up on those, yeah, I hopefully I recollect them back.
Yes, because I don't know your experience, but everywhere I went to study AI, data science, and these kind of things, it always started with mathematics and statistics, and all those kind of fades away now. And I literally was thinking the other day to sit down and get my calculus book again and start practicing, because it feels so weird that I knew this so well, and now I'm like, "Ooh, how was that again?" Yeah. So, well, we might need to go back to practice a little. Anyway, but your career right now, I'd like to talk about that too a little because it spans consulting, banking, and engineering roles. And what does your current role in AI involve, and what part of it energizes you the most?
Okay, so right now, as you know, that I'm in a consulting role, and I am sort of a chief AI architect or AI specialist for
Mhm.
APAC, which covers Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia to an extent, and yeah, and I'm also a product owner of our homegrown agentic platform, which we've built around Microsoft Azure as an accelerator, where we can quickly roll out to our end users or our clients for them to onboard their GenAI journey. So I'm also I'm part of my role also spans product management and development or platform,
Mhm.
owner of that homegrown agentic platform. And look, one of the things that I really love right now about my job is the diverse nature of use cases and client needs that we service. So I have talked with fashion houses. I have worked with, service industry, public sector, governments, education, oils, natural gas, utilities,
Yeah.
environment. And it's wonderful to see how AI can fill the gaps which they are facing, and actually literally help solve some of the glaring business challenges they have, right? It could be a simple search use case, it could be just, a specific personalization, or it could be a complex thing as weather prediction or improving their weather models, or even worked with sporting companies where they where they use data to calculate the prospects of players, and and profiling players for their kind of career journeys, right?
Mm.
So we've worked with so many different clients use cases, and every day is a new challenge now, with, as you know, so much happening in the Gen AI landscape, in the LLM landscape, agents landscape. So mm, there's never a dull moment, let me put it that way, right?
Yeah.
There's never a dull moment, and you're every single moment of the day you are learning something, you're discovering something, you are trying to upscale yourself while still trying to maintain your own specialist SME kind of role. So yeah, it's like, you are learning and you're also consulting and advising, and at the same time you're also trying to solve problems and champion the AI journey of clients.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these all projects are so always so interesting really to learn a little about it, or the domain knowledge that you need to collect to get very good in the area actually. So it's always was interesting, and consultancy as well.
Yeah, exactly. And because because of the current nature of the technology landscape, there's no single right answer, right? Like, nobody knows how to do it right. Agents deployment in production, nobody knows what kind of security should be applied, or what kind of security sign-offs are needed, what kind of infrastructure we need to stand up for all the auditing, monitoring, traceability, telemetry. So people are still trying to apply the old standards to these
Yeah.
agentic and LLM landscapes, and they present a whole new bunch of challenges. Okay, I'll share a very interesting perspective, which I myself found very interesting when that question was asked to me by the security team of the client, right?
Mm.
So what they told me was, hey, you say that you are redacting the PII data, right? Like, when the
Yeah.
agents read your data from the database or whichever data sources, you are saying that, yes, I'm redacting the data before I send it to the LLMs for completion. But
Hmm.
your agent itself is an LLM, right? I'm like, yeah, yes, but I am not using any chat completions, or I'm not processing that data without redacting it. And the security SME was like, yeah, fine, but your agent is still invoking an MCP tool, which is still reading that data from the database. And then, yes, you are redacting it, which is good, right? Or you're reading the data from the data source and you're redacting it before sending it for chat completions and all
Yeah.
is good. But which means your agent is seeing that data. And I'm like, look, it's a code, right? If you had written something as a procedural programming, your C sharp or Java program, and I am reading some data, I'm redacting it before I'm doing any sort of processing with it.
Hmm.
But he's like, yes, which is okay, but that was in your in your conceptual world, that was dumb programming, right? Like that was procedural, dumb, non-intelligent piece of code. And these are agents, these are intelligent things which are generative AI, so they are still seeing your data. So how
Yeah.
do I know that yes, they are not going to be able to remember it, or they are not going to be able to intelligently do something about it? You're redacting it after they have seen the data. I had no answer to that. Yeah, I mean, of course, when to come to think of it, I'm like, yeah, it's stateless, it does not persist any information, it can't do anything to that information. But yes, it is seeing your data. And
Yes.
if we say that they are as intelligent, or they might become more intelligent and sentinel, probably in future, then we do have a problem and we don't know how to solve that, right? So I was like, okay, give me some time, let me think about it. And now I'm doing my research on agent identity, authentication, and gating these data sources and stuff like that, or encrypting data in transit, encrypting data at rest, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe come to think of it, it's a very defining moment of the world we live in currently, right?
Yes, yes. And it's so important to someone stop for a second and think about those things that you might not have the proper and correct answer yet, but it's kind of the most important thing to think about as today's world is approaching towards the agentic AI world. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit something else. I would like to talk a little bit about that you have lived and worked across different continents. And how did moving to a new country influence your career and confidence?
Oh, that's a great question again. Yeah, so I have worked in Southeast Asia and now I have moved to Australia, New Zealand, right? So yes, that's indeed a change of continent. And come to think of it, right, the ways of working of both these continents are very different. In Southeast Asia, you have more household help available to you, so which means you can totally channelize all of your energies in concentrating on your professional work, or your extracurricular activities, because that there is easily available household help, who's holding the fort down for you.
Mm,
uh, for Australia, New Zealand, it's a different set of landscape, right? So you need to juggle your household and professional duties. And again, in Southeast Asia, the work front is pretty demanding. There's no delineation of your work life balance, or when
mm,
does your work end and your personal life start, that kind of a thing. So people are always go go go, always on the run. In Australia, people do respect those boundaries. Like when we say that I do have to go, and for some personal reasons, or no questions asked, right? People have that empathy. And But at the same time, as I said, we have to juggle here between your professional, personal duties. And when we were in Singapore, me and my husband, both of us, we were also very young, very fresh that time, newly married, no responsibilities in form of kids or anything, right? So that also helped us concentrate a lot on our careers. But when we did move to Australia, that was also partly because now we have a small daughter,
mm,
and wanted to, for her sake, wanted to move. And of course now it's a different ball game, right? Like managing not only work and your personal life, but also being able to do your parental duties.
Yeah.
So those are two different kind of aspects of our shifting continents. But then having lived across diverse landscapes gives you a lot of, I think, worldly perspective and confidence to deal with any situation. Like I can work across APAC demographics easily now, right? Like and
Hmm.
you kind of know the way of dealing with specific clients and specific demands of that particular market. So that's an essential, also essential aspect of being able to grow fast in your career, because you've worked across many geographies and you have that experience. You have what it takes to meet the demands of clients coming from those geographies.
I'm just stuck a little bit on the Australia point. Like Australia, Lily, really like the deadliest place ever. Spiders, snakes, and there is everything that can kill you. How do you handle that part?
No,
Aren't you
come on,
afraid?
no. No, 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 absolutely not. No, that's a lot of I don't know. It's a bit of kind of stereotype, I'll say, people have
Yes,
about
yes,
places,
yes.
and not just Australia, right? Everyone of us has a lot of fixed notions or popular internet stereotypes created about places. But that's not the case. Yeah. Absolutely. It's as normal as any place, and people talk a lot about wildlife, but all of us, like for me, I've never come across a snake in my 2 years of residence in Australia. And yeah, it's as normal as it can get. So you should come to Australia, Eve, and see for yourself.
Maybe I
You're
will
on
actually.
mute.
It would be
You're on
fun.
mute.
Yes, yes, yes. I noticed it immediately. I think maybe at some point I will visit just to see to myself. I'm interested. All right, let's talk. Let's take
Yeah,
another
I'll show you
look.
around. Always welcome.
Thank you. Now let's take a look into your MVP journey, because your path into the MVP community is also really inspiring. Really inspiring. So tell us what made you decide to pursue the award, and how did your journey look like? So how did you become an MVP?
Look, I did not know even what an MVP was, right? And I did not do any specific concentrated efforts in order to get that MVP title. It just happened along the way, right? And that is also my advice to all the aspiring people trying for MVP is, don't covet the title itself. Work towards community leadership, technology leadership, and the title is just a added benefit that you would get, right? So don't work for that title is what I'll say. And same thing happened to me. So I as a very young fresh pass out 2012, when I started working in Singapore, I used to be sent for a lot of trainings by my company. So I was sent to Microsoft Office for some Azure seminar, Azure training workshops, right? And then I happened to meet a very respected veteran member of the MVP community. His name is Senthamil,
Hmm.
and we bumped into each other at couple of such conferences. And he came up to me and he was like, hey, I have now seen you present at couple of conferences, and now you are doing regular technical trainings, attending workshops. And then he talked to me a bit about what it means to have technology leadership with Microsoft, and this MVP award program. Explained to me a bit about it, and this was in 2013, 2012, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, I mean, it's a lot of, work to be done, and it's a lot of thing to do outside of your professional work, right? Your
Yeah.
professional career. And I just humored him, and I didn't pay any attention. And he did, keep on calling me. We kept in touch, of course, because we shared a lot of common technology interests as well. And just like that, we just kept in touch. But I never still did my own thing. Like, I was a part of women who code Singapore. So I used to go to their meetups, I used to present with them, and I used to do a lot of community evangelism, technology evangelism, just like that, without any specific goal, or without, trying to think about all of these MVP things. And then come all the work which I started doing with data science, and my new organization and my new supervisor, he actually came up to me and said that, we want you to focus your energies on something which is tangible. Because then he was trying to set up a incubation department for emerging technologies. And he wanted to have these sandbox, and he wanted to have these champions who could then talk to Microsoft product teams and product managers, and get some sort of Azure credits to be able to build demos, accelerators. And he came across this program, and he wanted me to then be a part of it, because I was already anyways actively involved in um, technology sharing and community building. And
Yeah.
that's how I was like, oh yeah, I remember someone mentioning this to me, and maybe we should talk to that guy. And yeah, I mean, that's how I just kind of channelized all of my scattered efforts into like one specific field, which was like very very newly created category for AI inside of Microsoft. And anyways, working with data science, anyways, working with Microsoft Azure machine learning, ML Studio, and other things. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's how. And which is why I proudly say that I was an AI MVP. And even you, Eva, we were AI MVPs
Yeah.
before this Gen AI hype, before
Yes.
this Gen AI. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Before it was cool, huh?
exactly, before it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but one thing that I was always crazy nervous about is public speaking. And I see you also do a lot of speeches. Aren't you nervous before your sessions?
Not anymore. Like, now I'm like, so tuned into it, and I'm so used to it that
Mm.
sometimes I'm like, I know that I'm speaking in the next half an hour, and I'm still changing my slides, doing my demos. So which
Yeah.
is not necessarily a good thing. But what I'm saying is, now we have the confidence that, yeah, I mean, I'll pull it off, or yes, everything will be all right. I think you kind of grow into it once you are once you're kind of used to it, and once you are doing it on a quite regular basis. Yes, but first times are never so easy, right? As you rightly said. And all
Yeah.
of us have had that first instance of a public speaking terror or stage fright kind of a thing. Although I never had a stage fright, because as even as a student, and even in my school and university days, I used to do a lot of public speaking, and women in tech championing. But
Yeah.
then when I remember my first stint where I was actually actively presenting in Microsoft Dev Intersection Conference in Microsoft Office Singapore. And I was talking on .NET and Blazor, I think it's 2019. And
Hmm.
I was doing a demo on .NET and Blazor, and talking on machine learning in .NET. And suddenly, in this room full of people, it's my first as I said, right, like a very first MVP program related public speaking session. And you see suddenly, 80 to 100 people. Like when I was a part of Women Who Code, or whenever I used to do community sharing, we were like a cozy group of 25,
Mhm.
30 people max,
Yeah.
right? And it was casual, it was very informal. You didn't have to come prepared and dressed formally, and with the slide deck and a clicker and all, mic'd up and stuff like that. So it was all very casual and easy going. And then now when you are presenting here in front of probably 80 to 100 people, there are like various rooms and speakers and parallel tracks, and I could see senior members of Microsoft and the MVP community sitting just at the back,
Mm.
trying to see how I was doing in my first stint. And I suddenly had this huge panic attack. And I was like, that was my very, very first brush with actual public speaking anxiety. Okay. And yeah, and I forgot to, like, greet the people, and I was just thinking about what is the next point which I was supposed to say, what is the next slide which I'm going to present. It
Yeah.
didn't end up too badly. Like it could have gone much better, of course, like, cracking jokes and making the people feel comfortable, and opening with some kind of one liners, or welcoming the people, even
Yeah.
greetings, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just straight went on to, okay, this is the agenda, this is what we are going to see, and this is the demo, and done. And yeah, and of course, that although my education is in English, like I'm educated with English as my primary language, that's not my native language,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of times I have had to, got a feedback when I was presenting internationally, or I was speaking virtually on large conferences. I've gotten feedback on the way pronounce my intonations, some fillers which we constantly use, like, I know, those kind of things. So
Yeah.
I got a very positive feedback from my mentors, from community leadership, Microsoft people, people who groomed me to kind of practice the public speaking in front of mirrors, and get your script ready beforehand. Try to maintain your fluency, try to control the way you pronounce certain things like r's and t's and d's, kind of a thing. But it's been a, I'll say, a good learning journey for me, and the kind of mentorship which I was privileged to receive molded me into what I am today.
Okay. And you're speaking at the Microsoft Build conference this year. How does that feel?
It's again, it's always an honor to be selected to be speaking at such premium conferences, and especially Microsoft conferences, Build, Ignite. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm excited for it. I'll be doing a live demo on actual, how feedback based agents are deployed, and how the feedback actually helps them improve their accuracy.
Mm.
So I will be speaking, demonstrating a live use case which we have right now deployed with one of our clients. And yeah, I'm excited about it. In fact, tomorrow morning I've got a tech check, uh,
Ooh, that's exciting.
to walk through my presentation quickly. So yeah, it's always a great honor and a privilege to be talking, and I still, when we go to that um, when we go to that office and the conference center, it always feels like our first time, like the excitement
Yeah,
and the
very
aura
much.
of being able to present in front of so many people. That is always seems always like the first time.
Yeah, yes. So you grew a lot in your career. You are now in a role that is quite demanding. You are balancing work with MVP activities next to job, which might be a little problematic. But I think the most problematic part is maybe for you, especially because you are working with Microsoft services at your work as well, to find the deviation between whether it is work and whether it is community tasks that you're doing. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. Yeah, look, as you grow into your career, it becomes increasingly difficult to find that extra time for doing your community work. And again, working in an organization, which I am right now, it's so closely affiliated with what we do as MVPs and what we do as technology evangelism, that sometimes it becomes difficult to separate your work from your MVP related activities. It's like those two coalesce together, and then it's like you're always on work, right? You're never switched off. Uh, so yes, that's definitely a bit of challenge, right? And as I think, also as your career grows and your responsibilities grow, and as you rise higher up the professional ladders and echelons, the free time which you get where you can actually do your community work, now you have to prioritize that small chunk of time which I have. How should I use it? Like, should I hold a meetup on weekend, or should I go on a hiking trip with the family, right?
Yeah.
should, should I travel to a conference on a weekend, like when I'm traveling from Australia to US, I gain a day. So if I start on a Sunday, I reach on a Sunday. So then should I start on a Monday and reach on a Monday, and then immediately go to my work or my conference, or should I travel on a weekend so that I can get some rest? So it's always a trade off. You're always trading off something with the other, with that smaller chunk of time now which you have left.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as it's a tightrope walk, and it's a double-edged sword as well.
Yeah,
And
yes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
as you say, one thing is to balance work with community activities, and another thing is to make sure that you are still connected with your family, even when having so many responsibilities. So I I know you are really trying to still feel connected with your family. So how do you do that?
yeah. And it's a no easy task, Eve, I can tell you. But I'll give you a recent example, right? So I have a 7-year-old daughter, and just very recently, 2 weeks ago, I had hosted Global AI Communities Agent Camp conference at Brisbane's University of Technology, Queensland University of Technology. And when she came to know on a Friday evening that tomorrow I am going to be, locked full day because I'm hosting this event, and as usual, like 7 years old go, she was very upset about it, and she was like, "Why do you have to work on weekends?" And I had to make her understand that that does not work for me.
Yeah.
Like, she likes to go out on vacations or trips or hikings or outings, and my husband would want to go out for a game of tennis or to the gym. This is my idea of recreation. This is what makes me happy. I don't consider this as work.
Mhm.
And just to let her know, and let her feel connected and be a part of what I do, I actually asked her to tag along with me. And I said, okay, you just speak to all these people for a minute, not more. And, you just give a speech about agents and, what it means for you. Because she uses a lot of the voice chat on her iPad at school, asking Siri for help with some concepts and stuff like that. And even just for fun, right? Because we talk a lot
Yeah.
about me and my husband both work in IT, so we talk a lot about changing landscape and LLMs and whatnot. And then I actually got her involved in that. I made her kind of learn a 1 2 minute speech. I wrote down something for her, and I had her memorize it, and then she had to present in front of 120 odd people. But that is how you are going to make your kids also feel connected and make them a part of your journey, and again make them understand that this is by choice. It's not somebody's
Yes.
compelling me to lock away my time, and this is not work. The community work which I'm doing, the technology evangelism that I'm doing, that's not work for me. That is my idea of spending my free time, right? And like, I do activities with her, or we do activities as a family together. Why not try doing this activity with me as a family sometimes, right? It's
Yes,
very
yes,
important for, especially, when both of you have demanding careers, you and your partner, husband. It's very important for each of you to consciously then try to be a part of each other's hobbies, whether personal or professional,
for
because
sure.
that is the only way you're going to be able to you know have these together moments.
Yes, yes. And I like this story so much from you. Thank you for sharing. So, I also have another difficult conversation that we need to pick up a little, because your career journey has been very rich, very exciting, very inspiring. But I imagine that it hasn't really been easy always. So, what are some of the challenges you have faced as a woman in AI or tech?
Look, there's one thing, Eve, which I always, tell my fellow women technologists, or fellow women leaders, or forget leaders, just fellow women professionals. The fact that we still need to have awards to celebrate women in technology, right? Like, you have awards for celebrating women in technology
Yeah,
by various, forums and media houses and whatnot. The fact that you still feel the need to have an award to celebrate women led leadership or contribution in technology itself tells you that we are not yet there, or we are not yet correctly represented there. And same is the case with AI has democratized a lot, so it has empowered end users a lot, and everyone feels that the next agent, or the next AI model is very well in their reach. But then think of our representation, women representation in AI. Has it democratized? No. You still feel the same blocks, stereotypes, obstacles, judgments which you faced earlier. Maybe they have, reduced a little, but I mean, the rate at which they should have reduced, and the rate at which our representation should have increased, it's totally skewed, right?
yeah,
And it's I mean, uh, no matter whether you are from a developed part of the world, or from from a developing part of the world, I think we still face more or less, in varying degrees, the same challenges, right? And especially working in some of the countries in Southeast Asia, which are very, very kind of, patriarchal. Okay. So, and I've worked with, huge, absolutely giant clients from these countries, right?
yeah,
And whenever they see that, oh, this is a girl, and imagine 6 7 years ago, 10 years ago, a very kind of young girl trying to shape your AI journey, trying to coach you and your team on enterprise architecture and data science essentials, was a shock to many of them, right? And they're like, do you even know, have you done this, are you sure this will work? Well, they would not have asked those questions to if they would have seen a male counterpart do it, right? Like, if someone some male colleague of mine would have walked in and started to tell them what was not working or what was wrong, they would not have questioned his judgment. But because you see that something as important as AI or data science is now going to be uh, taught to you, forget taught to you, is going to be worked upon by
yeah,
you, by a girl, a woman, the amount of opposition and the amount of diffidence you face is actually, it's quite infuriating and also quite surprising, right? And yeah, as I said, even today, when we are growing so much in this AI landscape, technology landscape, I think some of those biases, prejudices still remain the same. As I said, might have decreased in various levels, varying degrees, basis which demographic you're working with. But yeah, we really, that's why I told you at the very start that this is a very commendable initiative. We really need to uplift each other, champion for each other, support each other, and really work towards increasing our own representation in this very niche, very upcoming space.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And do you think there is something that should be changed to further reduce the gender bias? Is there anything that you have in mind that could be just done to
Yeah.
improve this?
Look, there's literally so many things which could be done, and I follow a lot of women leaders, and for me personally, Indra Nui, who was the CEO of PepsiCo a few years ago, she continues to be my source of inspiration, right?
Hmm.
And one of the things, I just recently read her book, and one of the things that stayed with me is how we are not prioritizing uh, parental health and child care for working parents, so that they can actually, and especially women, so that they can actually channelize a lot of their channelize a lot of their energies in their professional growth rather than caregiving duties, right? So you see the cost of childcare, you see the cost of aged care, it's through the roof. And with
Yeah.
both partners working today, it's an insane amount of it's insanely taxing for these people, for these two individuals, to be able to also grow in their career and then make time for parental care, aged care, or whatever kind of caregiving activities which you do. So enterprises must, absolutely must, prioritize how to have these communities or ecosystem, build an ecosystem for all of these caregiving activities. At workplaces, I also feel that with all of these changing landscape, technology landscape, there are no training programs in place for upskilling your employees, or even transitioning your mid career, mid journey employees from whatever they are working on, and grooming them towards the changing technology, changing times, and then grooming them towards more leadership roles. Most of the senior or mid to senior level people you talk to in their career, especially women, they say that they feel stagnated because nobody is grooming and mentoring them to take
Yeah.
that next step, advance them to the next level. So there are so many things which need to be changed, and the first and foremost thing we can do is actually start accepting that there is an issue, and then we can start finding solutions.
Yes. I like that you brought up mentoring, and because that's also one of the things that I find it very important to advise to everyone, not just women, of course, that you should not be a lone ranger. I don't think any of us has gotten here just by ourselves. At least
Exactly.
I can speak for myself. So reach out, ask for help, make sure that you are not alone in your journey, so it's easier to walk through the path for sure. Priyanka, thank you for sharing all these things. I have one more question that is probably not technical, maybe, but let's see. I would like you to tell us one thing about you that you wish more people knew
Ooh.
about you.
Ooh, apart from the fact that I'm so wonderful, okay.
Oh, yeah, was it that?
Sorry, just joking. No, look, a lot of people don't know this thing about me, but I used to paint professionally once, like literally used to make money out of it. And then as I wanted to be like an architect or someone doing fine arts and architecture, interior design kind of a thing, very early into my education and academic days. And I also do a lot of origami. So that is right now like kind of my stress buster, and the way I spend my free time. And I still do paint. I have sold a bit of, a couple of artworks to some of my friends and colleagues as farewells, as their new house warming gifts, or even on demand, like they wanted me to recreate something, paint something for their wall art, wall decor kind of thing. Yeah, I used to like once do it really professionally. Now it's just a hobby, way I kind of like to spend my free time if I get any. But
Yeah. If someone would be interested, where can they see your art?
oh, so I upload
Mm.
a lot of it on my personal Instagram. So even, like just few days ago, I uploaded some pictures of origami which I did. So yeah, you just follow me on my Instagram. You'll get to see my feed there. I don't have a website or anything of those art pieces. It's more, as I said, it's more personal. So I do it on my Instagram.
Oh, that's nice. And it's so inspiring to hear your stories all about technology and your hobbies and everything. And for everyone who's watching, if you'd like to connect with Priyanka, maybe ask for her Instagram account, profile name, and everything. You can find her on LinkedIn. I'm sure she would love to hear from you. And Priyanka, I thank you so much for being here with us today. I hope you also had fun.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
It was wonderful. It's been so long, someone went into such details of kind of, going back into the memory lane, reminiscing about all the things that has happened, good, bad, wonderful, not so wonderful. But it has been amazing chatting with you. And again, kudos on your initiative, and keep doing all the good work that you do. And all the best.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. I hope to see you soon again. Take care.
Absolutely. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. And our next Women in AI session will be on the 17th of June, and I'll be welcoming Jonah Anderson. She'll take us through her own path into AI, the moments that shaped her career, and the lessons she has learned while she wrote her book. I can't wait to share that conversation with you as well. Thank you all for spending your time with us today and for supporting this community. If you want to stay updated about upcoming episodes, you can follow me on LinkedIn as Eva Party, or you can find my Facebook page, Code with Eve, or you can find me on Twitter at as Eve Party. And if you missed any part of today's session or you're interested to watch again the previous sessions, don't worry, you can always catch the recordings on YouTube or listen on Spotify. I will just drop the links in the chat. I actually want to drop it in the chat. Give me 1 second, and here we go. And I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. With that, I thank you so much for being here with us today. Take care, keep learning, and I'll see you next time. Bye.